Coming out, after a couple days, started training camp. Guys worked really hard, put in a lot of work in the spring, put in a lot of work in the summer, and happy to have football season here.
Front row here on the right.
Hey Coach, Jeremiah Tacho, Tarls on this side. What is your vision for how the defensive line sets the tone in your scheme? Is it more about controlling the gaps, creating chaos, or a mix of both? And how important is versatility up front in terms of mixing around inside or out?
Yeah, I think the game really starts up front with the offense and defensive line, and for those guys, the more energy and the more juice that they have, the harder they play. The harder it makes it on the offense. Everybody else is important. I'm not, taking those guys off the hook, but I think when those guys play well up front, it makes everybody's job a lot easier. Puts a lot of stress on the offense. So definitely starts up front. Firm believer in that, and. Yeah, I would say schematically and versatility-wise, the more you can do, the more value you bring to the defense. So, and the team for that matter. So, there isn't one certain style. No two players are the same. Everybody's different. Everybody's got their own skill set. But the more you can do, that definitely benefits everybody.
Front row, far left.
Adam Smith in South Carolina. Steve, good to see you, man.
Good to see you as well.
When you and your dad were in New England and sort of finishing that run, could you have ever imagined him as a college head coach? Because he's so tied to the NFL for 50 years almost. And also along with that, do you think the time when he came out there to Washington and hung out with you guys, like really opened his eyes maybe to becoming a college head coach? Like how would you say you saw that from your perspective?
Yeah. So the first part of the question, no, I didn't see it coming, and. To the second part, I take all the credit for him being in college. That's all me. No, I mean, I just think that for my dad, he loves coaching football. That's his passion. And so this opportunity presented itself. I don't know how it all went down, but I was as surprised as everybody else to hear, hey, I'm going to North Carolina. I was like, okay. But no, it was definitely, a little interesting when that happened. But he just loves to coach football, loves to develop players, loves to be around the game. It's been that way my whole life, and it hasn't changed yet.
Second row on the right here.
Hey there, Ashley Rose, WREL. How would you say your coaching style differs from your dad? I'm not trying to make anything awkward at the dinner table, but how would you say it differs from your dad? And then also, what's something specific that you try to emulate with your coaching style?
I'll start with the second part. I try and, take a lot from my dad. He's definitely my mentor, my idol. I look up to him in more ways than just football. Excuse me. But, I'm always trying to take something from him. I'm always trying to be a sponge and absorb, as much as I can from him in all aspects. And I would say with all the great coaches that are around this building and places that I've worked, it's taken the things that you like that they do, and it's also I don't think I can do it like them. Let me try and do it my way. So ideas, thoughts, and try new things. I'm always trying to do that, and I'm just my own person. I'm not him. My brother's not him. Me and my brother aren't the same. So. Yeah, it just is what it is.
Second row here.
Brian Welcome, Target 24/7. You spent over a decade in the NFL where you could see your guys play against another team before week one. And at Washington, you didn't really have that luxury. How much did you learn from that? And how big of a deal is it to not see these guys go up against another team before the season opener?
COVID year sticks out. I don't think we had joint practices that year, so it wasn't just exclusive. Every year we did the same thing in the NFL. Every year is different. Everything's different. The team's different. The style of play is different. So it is what it is. It's the same for everybody. So I haven't bought too much into it, to be honest with you.
Right here in the front row.
John, Target 24/7. You brought a couple guys with you from Washington. What are some of the things that jump out about Thad that kind of got his game to the point where he was all Big Ten honorable mention? And Kamari was a true freshman last year, but he played a lot, made some big plays late in the year. How did you see his game develop, and what do you foresee now that he's here?
For both those guys, keep growing, keep developing, keep becoming better players. That's my job as a coach. I'll make no plays this year. My stat line will always be 0 as a coach, so it's my job to put those guys in position to make plays. But, for Thad, well, and Kamari too, we developed great relationships last year. I developed great relationships with all those guys. I try to do that with all my players. So, we're blessed to have them here with us on this team. Looking forward to keep building and moving forward with those guys. But they're great players. I think that they can be better. I think they would say the same. But I'm very happy to work with them, just like everybody else on the team.
Steve, Michael Code, WCHL, chapelboro.com. You mentioned Brian. What has it been like working with him, not just here, but also with the Patriots? What is the dynamic like? And do you feel like you influence each other just as much as your dad influences you both?
Yeah, I mean, just speaking for myself, you'd have to ask Brian, but, both my brother and my dad have a big influence on me. Obviously, we have a very close relationship that goes back, a long ways, but it's great to be working with both of them again. Specifically to my brother, I couldn't be happier that he's here. He stayed in New England last year, and I left, but it was a tough year not being with him, not being with my dad, but definitely happy to work with my brother. We see a lot of the stuff the same. Grew up kind of the same way with the same, structure and development in terms of our coaching and how we see the game. So it's great to work with a person like that. All the other coaches on the defensive staff have been, they've been great also. I don't want to say anything about them. Those guys have completely embraced the system or have been part of the system in the past. So no, I love working with all the coaches. Not as much the offensive guys, but I love the defensive staff.
Second row in the middle here.
Tom Shanahan, All Sports Discussion. Your dad had an interesting answer earlier, talking about you guys always being around football. He said he never pushed you into coaching. Can you talk about that process? And he also said he would have to ask you if you had aspirations for another career. Can you talk about what brought you into coaching?
Yeah, I mean, just being around the game. Being around the guys. Going all the way back to my grandpa, it's kind of, part of the family. My mom always told me that I could do something better with my life, but I just kind of fell in love with the game. I appreciate my mom for saying that, and at this point I understand a little bit what she's saying, but, my grandpa used to say, if you love what you do, then you never work a day in your life, and especially during training camp where it's, just all football. The month of August is dedicated to football and getting ready for the football season, and I really enjoy that. I love that. It's a great time. Every other day in the year is an important day to get into the season, but this is a time where the wheels really get spinning, and just really excited for the year.
Middle front row here.
Steve, Ron Baxley, Fayetteville Observer. What do you remember about those initial conversations with your dad and the interview process, so to speak, about joining him here?
I mean, that was a long time ago. Lots happened since then. But having the opportunity to work with my dad and my brother was just, something I couldn't pass up. I can't say enough good things, and how much I appreciate Coach Fish out of Washington giving me that opportunity. That was huge for me. I'll always be indebted to him, but being able to come back, work with my dad, work with my brother, it was just, I couldn't pass it up.
Far right, second row.
Gotta ask, but was there ever any chance that you wouldn't come and work with your dad? And then, obviously, he's become a bigger than life celebrity here in the last couple months. Did you ever sense any change in him, or was he surprised at all that there was this much attention being paid to his whole life?
Yeah, I mean, I never thought he was that cool, but that's your guys' opinion. But I said it earlier. I'm just messing around. He's, I look up to him so much, but yeah, there was definitely a chance. I mentioned it earlier. I'm my own person. I'm going to do my own thing. Being with him was important. That wasn't, the only piece of the decision, but I got a family to feed. I got, people to provide for. I don't count on him to do that. I'm going to do that myself. I'm a man, so it was a tough decision. It was hard leaving those guys, but here I am, and it's time to go.
Front row on the left.
Yeah, Jeremiah Holloway with Inside Carolina. We were talking to Dad and Kamori. We were asking about, the Washington defense that you ran versus this one right here. One thing that they both said was the 24 Washington defense is different from the 25 UC defense. I guess for you, evaluating all, those guys and also all the, new players that you're working with, what has been the process of constructing the defense, and how much of that, maybe Washington defense are you looking to maybe kind of introduce to some of these guys?
Yeah, I mean, every year is different. Whether it was, the NFL when I started getting into the league, or even before that when I was watching my dad's teams when I was in school. Every team's different. There's always going to be new players, new faces, and stuff like that. I said it before. It's all about the players. Those are the guys who go out there and make the plays. I don't make any plays, so structuring the defense around those guys and their ability to do different things. You have to install a system. You have to have a foundation, and then there's the evaluation process of seeing what guys can do and giving them the chance to do that and not making them, overthink out there. Let them go out there, play fast, and see what they can do. And then from that point, you structure your team around, the guys that you got out there. So we're early in the building process right now, and we'll see what the product looks like. But it's always a building process.
Last one for Steve, front row here.
Hey, Coach, Grant Sasser of Toreros on the side. Picking back up Jeremiah's question about versatility, how important is versatility when you're evaluating players on defense, especially in a college game that's constantly shifting with tempo and spread offenses?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, football is football. If you got a good foundation with your fundamentals, that's a great place to start. And then just, try and push the limits and see how far you can take it. We're not going to, drastically change players' positions or anything like that. But, just see how much they can do, see how comfortable they are doing it. If they don't like to do it, then, we can find somebody else. If they do want to do it and try it, then let's give it a shot and see how it goes. But I'm not a cookie cutter guy. I'm not going to live, inside a fence. I want to test the boundaries and see how far we can take it, and that's where we're at right now. So mistakes are okay. It's okay to make a mistake, but we got to correct the mistake and move on. We can't have repeat errors, but test the limits and push the boundaries and see how far we can take it. And from that point, then we'll start to settle it down once we get into game planning and things like that. But we don't got to worry about that right now. We got training camp.
Thanks, Steve.
Yeah, you guys have a good day.